Okay, good afternoon, people, and welcome to our first class in software management. Now, in our today's class, we want to discuss why software is very important when it comes to project management. Okay, so now let us look at the purpose of this course as we discuss software management in project. So the purpose of this course basically is to learn and understand the use of computers in project management as a discipline and profession that rests on practitioners who apply and practice it. So simply put, we are going to apply the concepts that we learn in subjects like monitoring and evaluation, project planning and management, proposal writing, and those concepts, putting them together, we are going to be applying the software that can help us handle those things very well. So as we discuss project software management, we'll be looking at how we can do the project planning and management using the software that is recommended for us to do that. So then we need to ask ourselves the question, why using the software? And that's what I'm going to answer in this lecture today. So now, what are the benefits of using computers in project management? Perhaps someone can say, I can do these things very well on paper, and with experience, I've been doing the projects on paper and I've been successful. Now, still the question that we can ask ourselves, if there are people who can do without computers very well, then why should we use the computers in project management? So we're going to look at these key areas where computers becomes handy or very instrumental in project management. And these are: one, time analysis, resource scheduling, speed and flexibility, information management, multi-project scheduling, and also costing. So these are the areas where computers excel very well when it comes to using the computer. Even someone without the computer knowledge, or someone has never used the computer before in project management, will appreciate these areas that we're going to talk about in today's lecture. So now if we talk about time analysis, usually an expert planner faced with the task of producing and examining a network for a project containing few activities will, without wasting much of the time, produce the fastest results by drawing the freehand arrows on the paper and use the mental analysis. On that one, someone can argue and say, yes, if the project is very simple and there are very few activities to do, a pen and a paper will do wonders. But why is it more critical and you need a computer? Look at the second point, saying it sometimes takes longer using the computer because of technicalities needed to set up the new project, the system, and all these requirements of the computer. Sometimes they also consume time. Now, if you're looking at this simple project, you find that time to set up the computer system and also to do the actual project can take more. So that's where we are confirming with you, if you don't use computers, that in this case you are right if the project is very simple and small. Freehand is okay. But when it comes to complicated projects, very big projects, which requires some extra effort by the computer, the brain and the paper won't just do the work. So time analysis of a small project, as we are trying to confirm with you if you don't use the computer, but it is okay because the project is very small. And even the average brain can handle those computations of calculations of the critical path and also the float. But when it comes to very big projects, you will see the importance of such computer applications. So in this course, we are going to pick one software that specifically handles the project management, and this software is called Microsoft Project. Of course, it comes in versions, so starting from 2000 plus. Okay, so others they use 207, or 2007 rather. Others they use 2010, 2013, 2016. So we'll see which version will be appropriate for us and our computers that we're using for us to do practical aspect of this. So now, it is practical to carry out the time analysis of quite large networks without the help of computer, but admittedly, the precedence diagrams contain several complex constraints are not quite so easy. So in this case, you're not agreeing with you if you don't use the computer when it comes to big and complex projects, because the calculations and the requirements of the figures that are needed for you to know the critical path to calculate the float of the project. So those calculations becomes complex to a point whereby an average brain won't be fast when it comes to computing these things. So what I was saying, if you look at the point number 4, without using a computer, updating a network to accommodate logic changes or new progress information becomes a daunting task of having to erase large amount of time analysis data from the network diagram and start the calculations afresh. So you see where we're not agreeing with you if you don't use the computer when it comes to complex projects and you want to make changes or updates to the system. So in this case, you agree with us who use computers that you need a computer for you to handle such tasks, which are very difficult and a bit complex. So you can see where computers excel very well in the time analysis when the projects are very big. Admittedly, when the project is very small, yes, you disagree with us when it comes to using the computer because even the brain, okay, the average brain, and also the pen and the pencil can do wonders in this regard. Okay, now let's look at another aspect that we can say, or where we can say computers, they do very well. And this aspect is resource scheduling. So resource scheduling basically, as we are seeing from this slide, okay, we are talking about allocating of resources to the project and the like. So this area also becomes very, very useful if we are working with a very big project where I need to allocate resources to some projects and so on and so forth. So looking at the first point there, they're saying a very small project should not pose any great difficulty to a planner aimed with the adjusted bar chart and other relevant facts. We agree. And projects with up to 100 tasks can be planned with the aid of what? Adjustable systems. So now the biggest problem is with any manual chart method. However, this is inflexible in terms of accommodating new changes without resulting in tedious work in positioning all the tasks on the chart. So this is where computers comes in and do wonders. Remember, as we look at resource scheduling, it is also referred to as resource leveling in other subjects, which means planning and allocating of resources to work packages that need to be done for a project to complete. So if the project is very big, as we have mentioned, you are going to have difficult moments to do the planning and allocating of resources to the work packages. Now, another aspect which we need to talk about is speed and flexibility. This one is obvious. This one is obvious. You know, many scientists, they say a computer multiplies the efforts of a human being, which means if we can cover certain activities in 2 days, a computer can help us to cover them within an hour, even if not minutes or seconds sometimes. So when we talk about speed and flexibility in this regard, we are trying to talk about the computer is going to be our tool, okay, our right hand man in this case, where we can do things quickly regardless of their complexity. So the use of computers, well-known advantage for many business applications is about speed and flexibility. So if you look at the second point, they're saying this includes the ability of the machine to process large amount of data quickly and accurately to reflect progress made or any change in the project scope or plan. Okay, so as Ida alluded to, so the machine has that capability to take in a lot of amount of data and able to process it very quickly as opposed to the human brain. I'm not saying that our human brains are not okay, but at the moment, due to some imperfection, we don't fully utilize the capacity of the brain 100%. So because of that limitation, we need this assistance, okay, by means of the computer. Right. So another aspect that we can talk about is information management. Management of information, we're talking about processing, keeping of the information, sharing it, and also able to distribute it and use it eventually as what? As knowledge in future. So basically it's about keeping, updating, and just record management. So information management basically is also very good when it comes to computers, because computers, as we are saying, it can keep a lot of information and it's very fast, which means accessing such manuals, such files does not take a lot of time, as opposed to having a cabinet file, a physical cabinet file where you keep those drawings and the like. You find that accessing some of those drawings and the like you want for the projects, it takes time. Sometimes they're destroyed, okay, due to other physical occurrences or events. So now with the computer, we find that regardless of having so many things kept in the computer, we can easily share those things and we can easily access those things without any difficulties. So we are talking about this ability on number 4, the ability of the computers to filter, sort, print, okay, the information that you want. And this is very, very good because you can actually just get a portion of what you want as opposed to going to the cabinet files and locating the whole chunk of the drawing or the whole drawing in short, and able to just get a few from the drawing that you're getting. But with a computer, this can be done within seconds, and you can easily share this information, okay, without necessarily going to the actual physical courier companies and send those things, and that is also cost. Okay, so computers systems allows you to produce reports instantly and also to back up the information without difficulties. What about multi-project scheduling? We're talking about scheduling the projects, okay, that are colluding and they're achieving one objective. And hence we are saying they are multi, which means many projects. So with many projects and scheduling them, it is very complex with the average human brain. This is where you need the computer to come in and assist you to schedule these resources without difficulties. So if you look at the third point, which is very, very critical here. So using a computer in this way allocates all work according to the critical path needed priority, should generally produce better results in terms of forward budgets, manpower, and other corporate plans. So remember we said this subject is actually incorporating some principles that are found in other subjects like monitoring and also planning, and you are trying to see how the computer can come in to do some of those activities without difficulties. All right, so the computer can quickly do this critical path, okay, priorities, and can quickly do the production of the better results in terms of budgets, manpower, and the like. This is critical. So the bigger the project, the longer it will take for you to finish. And part of that time which is wasted, okay, on the project is time for planning. All right, but with a computer, as we will see later on, that there will be templates that you can be using, just make changes later on, okay, so it will be quicker to do those schedules as opposed to depending on the pencil and the paper and the average human brain, because every time that you'll be doing the project, you have to do them from scratch, and that's a lot of time to waste, people. Okay, since we talked about time, and every time that we talk about time, you have to remember that cost will be involved because time is money. Not so when the computer, okay, as you are saying, the computer can make things work faster and efficient. Okay, we're also talking about money aspect. So if we can save time, we can quickly save money as well. So that's why I'm saying project cost management is good also because the computer has those other advantages which culminates into proper planning or costing of the project. So the computer can be used to produce project cost estimates, cash flows, when the estimated cost data are added to the activities. So you don't have to compute all those things manually on paper. Punch in the inputs for cost estimations. Then the software has the embedded instruction that you calculate those cash flows and other costs that are needed in the project. As we discussed in proposal writing in lecture 9, you can also see it on the YouTube, which talks about cost management. You will see it's a lot of work to do costing of the project without the help of the computer. So during the life of the project, computers can make comparisons between the planned and the actual costs and carry out end value calculations as we'll see later on. So people, this is the end of this lecture. So I want you to run through it several times, and if there will be questions, please feel free to put them on the platform. I will see them and I will make clarification later on. So well, this is it. Thanks very much.